How's it going, guys? Tino here. So I'm going to briefly discuss some of the transfer news that's sort of appeared over the last few days. The main person who seems to be one of the main focuses in terms of transfers is Rafael Camacho. He's been linked with a move to Schalke, Sporting, and I believe Wolves over the last year or so. His departure has sort of been well known for a while. You've got to look at the lad and think, fair play to him in terms of his departure, because Liverpool want him to stay. He's a very, very talented young player. They want him to stay, go and learn for a season, and then come back, similar to how Harry Wilson has done, similar to how Ryan Kent has done, similar to hopefully what will be happening to Shea Ojo this season. But he's gone out and said, listen, I want to leave. I want to go and get first team football and play regularly. I'm not happy with just sitting in the under-21s and going on a few loans. I want to go out and play football for myself, which you've got to credit him for that. You don't see a lot of that nowadays. You see a lot of young footballers who get to the age of 23, 24, or 22-ish, 23 at the latest, and get released, and then it's a big shock, it's a big change for them. So it's nice to see a young, very, very talented footballer go out and say, listen, I'm not happy with just alone. I want to go out and play week in, week out at a club. And the three clubs that have been linked, as I said, Schalke, Sporting and Wolves. Sporting seems the most likely, given that he's Portuguese. I think he'd do incredibly well in the Portuguese league. The thing that sort of confuses me, well, not confuses me, just sort of indicates where Liverpool's head is at in terms of who they're after, would be a possible deal for Bruno Fernandes. If Sporting are interested in Rafa Camacho for around I've seen a few figures from 5 to 6, ranging all the way up to 10 million euros. So if they are interested in him, why aren't we trying to get a deal for Bruno Fernandes using Rafa Camacho? It kind of indicates where Liverpool's head is at in terms of that deal. It's obvious. It's obvious that Liverpool aren't particularly looking for a deal for the player. And it seems nowadays all the transfer news that have been linked over the last week or month or so just immediately being shut down, which doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. Liverpool don't need a transfer window where, like the last few seasons, where we signed Van Dijk for 75 million, where we signed Alisson and Salah and like all these big players and big names. We don't need that. We don't need a massive influx of players. We need to consolidate the squad we already have. So I think it's going to be a relatively quiet transfer season, window even. Everybody knows that. It's been well documented in the media, but we aren't afraid to go out and spend money. We're in that position where we know we have the funds and the resources to do so, and we're at that level where if you go in for a player, we are, no matter who the player is, we are genuinely in the conversation. So it's nice to see. It's really, really nice to see Liverpool back on top, European champions, of course, which massively helps. And you even look at the Mbappe links. It's a link where you think it could happen. It's not too far off. It's not one of those ones where you think, yeah, that's just an outlandish, just ridiculous rumour that's never going to happen. You think, it gets you thinking it could happen, even though, in my opinion, it's never going to happen this season at least. Another player who's actually gone on loan and left the club is Shea Ojo, who I've mentioned. He's gone on loan to Rangers. The Rangers loan did Ryan Kent incredibly well. He's been linked with a move away permanently. That loan did incredibly well on that loan. And I think using Rangers and Steven Gerrard is a very smart move, because he's going to instill the confidence in the player. Is going to give him the chances, and the in terms of the ethos essentially that Liverpool and Rangers have. You know, Gerrard's ideas and ethos is going to be very similar to Liverpool's ideas and ethos. So you know he's going to get good luck. You know he's going to get game time and he's going to prove himself. Whether that eventually is just in order to sell him, which to increase his market value, is another question. I personally think it is. I don't really think he'll ever play for Liverpool full time, as in challenge for a first team spot or being around the first team. I think this is just in order to learn him. So it's a good season in order to sell him, like with Ryan Kent. But it'll be interesting to see. The next player is Dejan Lovren. This has been sort of cooled a lot recently. AC Milan were apparently heavily interested in him 3 days ago, and then suddenly now they've cooled their interest to try and go sign a young centre back from Stuttgart, whose name escapes me. So the point behind selling Lovren is if Lovren wants to leave. If he wants to leave, he's 30 now. If he wants to go out and start playing, still at a very, very good level, this is the time for him to leave. Whether Liverpool would be able to replace him or not is a different question. Whether they'd be able to get someone as good as him for around that 25 to 30 million pound mark is a different question, without it being a youngster, without it being someone who you need to give time to adapt and develop to this league is a different question. And someone who's willing to be, let's be realistic, fourth choice centre back. It's a difficult question. Personally, I probably would sell Dejan Lovren. I don't think he's good enough. He's gone from being our starting centre back with Van Dijk to fourth choice centre back just because of how well Gomez and Matip have played. I think he's too prone to mistakes, similar to Alberto Moreno. Okay player, just not the level that we need or we are going to need in the future. Another player who's, according to Melissa Reddy, essentially isn't leaving, which is nice to hear, is Divock Origi. He played such a vital part in our Champions League run at the back end of the season and at several points at the back end of the Premier League season as well. He scored some incredibly vital goals, and he's been offered a new contract, which is lovely to see. He's been offered a new contract. He said in an interview on international duty, I believe, he's unsure whether he's going to sign it or not. He's going to sit down and talk with his agent and his team and go from there. But according to Melissa Reddy, irrespective of whether he signs that new contract or not, he's not leaving. It's something that Klopp has done, not just at Liverpool already, but when he was at Dortmund, at Mainz. If a player is more value to Liverpool Football Club or the club he's at in the final year of his contract, they're not going to sell him. They're not just going to sell him just because he's in the final year of his contract. They're going to keep him, and he's going to play, and he's going to play a vital role, which I think Divock Origi will. So yeah, it's a weird transfer window because every rumour that comes up just seems to be batted away. Delict, Bruno Fernandes now seems to be just out of the window, along with a fair few others, and doesn't surprise me because it's not the type of transfer window we need. We need to, as I've said, consolidate our squad. But it's just a bit of an odd one. A goalkeeper obviously seems to be coming in if Simon Mignolet leaves, which is kind of expected. He's around 30 years old, I believe, so he's going to want to be playing at a good enough level. I don't think you can get a better number two, to be honest, than Simon Mignolet. I don't think the players linked Neil Etheridge, Adrian from West Ham, McCarthy from Southampton, I don't think they are as good a number two as Simon Mignolet would be. But it'd be interesting to see. I'd expect him to leave. I'd expect Kent to leave, Camacho. Harry Wilson, I'd expect to go on hopefully will go on a loan to a Premier League team rather than being sold for 25 to 30 million, I think was linked. I really like Harry Wilson as a player. I think he could do a job in our team. I think he could do a job in our squad. I'm not saying he's gonna sit out there and be a starter, but I genuinely think he could do a job for us over the coming season, and I think he's earned the right to prove himself. And evidently Klopp thinks so too, because according to recent reports, he's going to be given a chance in pre-season. So it'll be interesting to see. Speaking of pre-season, hopefully I'll be able to get down to a few games in pre-season. The plan is at the moment to go to Lyon, and also maybe the Bradford, I think the Stephen Darby charity match, hopefully. I did want to go to the Schalke game before I got called off, but who knows? Yeah, I will see you in a bit. This is the end. Let me know who you think Liverpool will sign, who you think will sell. And yeah, let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, I will see you another day.